Chapter 2596. Right after Tanghua left the Yun family, a video was exposed on the internet. The video was of Tanghua and Tangwen having a meal together, and Tangwen being sent to the hotel after getting drunk. Those who had vowed to believe in Tanghua on the internet were speechless. Even Tanghua's fans were silent at this moment. Just as Tanghua had said, the video was too realistic. She had been captured clearly, and there was no way she could deny it. It was said that the person who leaked the video was the hotel staff and the restaurant's employees. Not long after the incident, both parties said that they had fired the staff. Dear host, this was done by the Yun family. Saying that it was a staff member who leaked the video was just an excuse. Got it. Tanghua saw that the entire internet was scolding her for being a Black Lotus, but she wasn't angry. No matter how unimportant people slandered her, she wouldn't care at all. Among the fans who liked her, there seemed to be quite a few who had left her. This made her feel a little regretful. Dear host, don't be sad. You still have a lot of die-hard fans. They say that they don't care, but they still like you. Moreover, they say that the two videos can't prove anything. There are too many things that can be manipulated. Now, they are waiting for you to explain it personally. Tanghua glanced at them and smiled. I have quite a lot of die-hard fans. All right, dear host, you asked me to keep an eye on the Yun family. I realize that my signal seems to have been disrupted by something, so I can't monitor their every move. Tanghua was surprised. Is everyone in the Yun family like this? Yes, everyone is like this. Once I catch their traces, I will be disrupted. The system said seriously, dear host, I suspect that the person who did this is related to the outside world. I have contacted 3 1s and 3 2s about this. They said that the Yun family should have a system disruptor on them. The person who researched this should be their opponent from the Space Administration. If that's the case, the person who harmed me is actually their opponent? What's their motive? Those 2 guys said that their Space Administration was an existence that maintained the balance of time and space, while their opponent was an existence that destroyed time and space. They used special means to steal the power of the world. If that's the case, then the person in the video who looks exactly like you should be the result of their research, right? I don't know if she had plastic surgery to look like me, or if she had copied my appearance. There are no special powers in this world. The only thing they can use is this kind of advanced technology. Dear host, your movie will be released in a week's time. Because of what happened today, not many people are buying tickets now. The entire internet is boycotting you. During this conversation, Tanghua scrolled through her phone and realized that there seemed to be an invisible hand pushing this matter to the peak. There was no need to guess that the person who did this was from the Yun family. Earlier, they had said that they wouldn't let her have a good time, and she felt a little regretful about it. Xiaoguo, when can I make a move? Rongsu saw that things were getting more and more wrong. Even though he knew that Tanghua was innocent and that she could prove her innocence as long as she wanted to, she kept holding him down and not letting him move. Seeing countless people scold and slander her, he felt terrible. He really couldn't bear to see her being surrounded by everyone and slandering her. Chapter 2597. Lin and Tai Xian just called to ask about it. I told them about the situation and they said that if you don't deal with it, they will come. Tanghua smiled. Brother Rong, help me reply to them. Listen to me and don't do anything for the time being. Let them slander us. It'll help us promote the movie. You're really able to sit still. At this moment, Tanghua received a call from Yun Zishu. Brother Rong. Xiaoguo, why did you do that? Yun Zishu's voice was a little sad. Tanghua smiled. Brother Rong, do you think I did it? Yun Zishu was silent for a moment. I don't want to believe it, but the video? I asked someone to check it. The video was not edited. They also pulled out videos from other angles. You and Tangwen were also there. Xiaoguo, all the evidence points to. So, did you really do this because you hate us? Brother Rong, since you've already confirmed it, why are you still asking me? I don't want to believe it, so I'm asking you. I want to hear your answer. My answer is that I didn't do that. Would you believe me? Yun Zishu was silent for a minute. In the end, he did not say a word. He said goodbye to Tanghua and hung up. Your brother still doesn't believe you. Rongsu took the opportunity to hold Tanghua's hand. He looked a little proud. Now you know that Brother Rong is the best, right? Tangwa smiled and nodded. Yes, Brother Rong is the best. Regardless of whether Brother Rong believes me or not, in my heart, Brother Rong is the best. Rong Su liked to hear this, but he still wanted to solve the problem. Brother Rong, I have something to do now. What are you going to do? Meet the Yun family again. This time, she met them one by one. First, she met Yun Yi, then the rest of the Yun family. Tangwa arranged to meet Yun Yi at noon the next day. As Tangwa expected, Yun Yi did not come alone. Yun Zishan accompanied her. Do you have something to say to me? Yun Yi sat in front of Tangwa and looked up at her. I thought I was relieved. I didn't expect you to hate me and use this method to deal with my fiancé. Tongzi, they are right in front of you. Can you capture them? Dear host, I can't. Something is still interfering with my signal. All right, got it. I came to see you because I didn't do such a thing, Tangwa said with a faint smile on her face. As she spoke, she had already examined every detail of Yun Yi and Yun Zishan. Do you believe me? Yun Yi looked at Tangwa strangely and finally shook her head with a smile. I used to think that you were someone who didn't care about anything. Later, I found out that you just didn't act up. How do you expect me to believe you in the face of evidence? President Yun, do you trust me? Yun Zishan smiled faintly and shook his head. His fingers tapped on the table as he gently raised his eyes. You've harmed Xiaoyi so much. How can I still believe you? But I really didn't do it. If you're just meeting Xiaoyi to talk about this, then we're leaving. Don't think about using Xiaoyi to do anything. Yun Zishan sneered at Tangwa. I know that your movie will be released in a week. Right now, I really want to suppress this matter. Otherwise, no matter how good the movie is, the netizens will boycott it. Chapter 2598. In the end, Yun Zishan pulled Yun Yi away. Dear host, did you see anything? No, they have too many items on them. I can't tell. The system was a little anxious. What should I do? Let's meet them one by one. After that, Tangwa met with the other members of the Yun family. Because they had too many items on them, she couldn't tell the existence of the interference device. 2 more days passed. Not only did the matter of Tangwa harming Yun Yi not subside, but under the Yun family's influence, it became more and more intense. Tangwa's fans lost their fans very seriously, and there were many who stepped back. However, she seemed to have disappeared and didn't respond at all. Everyone thought that she was lying flat and being ridiculed. That night, Tangwa woke up and was about to do something when Rong Su opened his eyes and grabbed her hand. Xiaogua, what are you doing sneaking around? Brother Rong, you didn't sleep? Tangwa turned around and asked in surprise. Rong Su's expression was strange. So many things have happened. If you don't want me to solve it, how can I sleep? Tangwa looked at the green under Rong Su's eyes. It really didn't look like he slept well. It'll be over soon. I'm going to do something. What are you going to do in the middle of the night? Of course it's something that can't be seen in the light. Tangwa smiled and took out her tools out of thin air, causing Rong Su to be shocked. Are you afraid? I can make things out of thin air. Rong Su came back to his senses and held her hand tightly. Xiaogua, will you return to the immortal world in the future? Can you bring me along? System. Ha ha ha. Okay. Tangwa suddenly disappeared in front of Rong Su. Rong Su was very shocked. Even if he believed her in his heart, he was really afraid that she wouldn't come back. He waited in the room and stared at the spot where she disappeared. Late at night, there was a knock on Yun Zimo's room. He opened the door and saw Yun Yi outside. He frowned. It's so late. Is there anything else? Let's go in first. Yun Zimo looked outside and let her in. He casually leaned on the sofa and glanced at Yun Yi, who was sitting on the other side. What's the matter? Is that really enough? Yun Yi looked up and said worriedly, You know that she's not simple. I'm worried. What are you worried about? She can't find any evidence. The truth is right in front of everyone. Look at the people in your Yun family who love you. Aren't they constantly stepping on her? Yun Zimo had an evil smile on his face. After this, the entire entertainment industry will be yours. She won't be able to stop you. You don't have to worry about the Yun family being nostalgic about her. Look, even Yun Zishu doesn't believe in her anymore. After Yun Zimo finished speaking, Yun Yi, who was in front of him, revealed a smile. He felt that there was something wrong with this smile. If that's the case, then I'm relieved. Yuni suddenly walked in front of Yunzimo and looked up at him with a faint smile. Just as he felt that something was wrong, a slender hand had already squeezed his neck. Who are you? You're not Yuni. How did you find out? And why did you? Yunzimo was a little frightened. He wanted to break free, but he found that this woman was very strong. She didn't let go of his neck at all. He felt that he was going to suffocate. Before he could finish speaking, he felt that his mental strength was restrained. He couldn't even take the opportunity to escape. Chapter 2599. Looking at the person in front of him who looked exactly like Yuni, he looked defeated. What do you want to do? Do you want to die? Who wants to die? Who sent you to harm me? Yunzimo did not answer. Instead, he asked, How did you find out that I'm not Yunzimo? I don't think there are any loopholes in my disguise. Yunzimo was not satisfied. He had disguised himself so perfectly and even used a jammer. After all, he had interacted with the other family before. Perhaps he had that annoying system on him. Unexpectedly, he was still found out. Looks like you weren't sent by that person. He shouldn't be coming out so soon. So you should be the one who destroyed time and space and stole the world's fate? Let me guess. You helped Yun-E to send her to the peak of her life and use her as a medium to steal the power of fate? The person pretending to be Yun-E was Tangwa. Pretending to be another person wasn't only possible, she could also do it. Was the art of disguise that he had learned just for show? Yunzimo's expression changed. How do you know so much? I'm still curious. How did you find out that I'm not Yunzimo? Tangwa smiled faintly. I remember. I just had a cold. You were the one who brought me to do a blood test. Yunzimo's expression changed. Tangwa continued. At that time, Yunzimo was no longer Yunzimo. Yes, the Yun family found out that Tangwa was not their biological daughter. It was from a physical examination. The original owner of the body had been in good health since young. It was just a small cold. She would be fine after taking some medicine. Yunzimo insisted on taking her to the hospital for a blood test. This blood test naturally found that the blood type was different. Hence, a paternity test was done. Then, the Yun family found Yun-E very quickly. This time, it was really too smooth. As for why this person did not directly send the original owner to the peak, it was because the original owner was almost perfect except for being a little arrogant. Without personality flaws, she would not be used by him at all. Instead, she would be found out that something was wrong. Yun-E was the biological daughter of the Yun family. She had suffered since young and had a huge personality flaw. Hence, she desired better things. These people like to steal the world's luck, so it would be much easier for Yun-E to start her counterattack from the outside. Yuni, who had been bullied in the past, would definitely agree without hesitation when she saw such hope. She had always doubted that it was impossible for Yuni to become so calm in such a short time under the influence of Duan Yuhong and Tang Liming. After all, Yuni was already 16 when she returned to the Yun family. Since you already know, then I have nothing else to say. I've calculated everything, but I really didn't expect that the real Tangwa would also disappear and become you. You shouldn't be from that side. Otherwise, you would definitely kill me at this time. How about this? Let's make a deal. If you let me go, I'll clear your name. Are you qualified to make a deal with me? Tangwa looked at him with contempt. You're a loser. What you need to do now is to cooperate with me and prove my innocence. If you don't do it, I'll make you disappear completely. Since that's the case, don't even think about having an easy time. Do you think that without you, I won't be able to prove my innocence? Seeing how calm Tangwa was, Yunzimo was a little uncertain. This woman was indeed too calm. Do you know where I went that day? Tangwa did not stop and continued. It was my younger brother's teacher's birthday. He invited me to his birthday banquet. Chapter 2600. Do you know who my brother is? Isn't it that kid, Tanglin? Yes, he's Tanglin, but his teacher is an outstanding diplomat. What kind of people do you think attended his birthday banquet that day? At that venue, not only was there comprehensive surveillance, but even every door needed to be verified. Do you think that the video from the hotel and restaurant is more trustworthy, Or do you think that I, who appeared at this diplomat's birthday banquet, is more trustworthy? This time, Yun Zimo was really speechless. Put on a good show with me. I promise that I'll kill you and spare your dog life. If you don't agree, then I'll crush you. Anyway, I can prove my innocence. Okay, I agree. At this moment, he had lost any right to negotiate. He really did not know where this woman came from. When he returned, he would definitely report it to the higher-ups. If he could not rope her in, he would kill her so that she would not be discovered and recruited by the other party. In the middle of the night, a video suddenly appeared on all the major social media platforms. The netizens who were bored and browsing the internet opened the video and their eyes widened. Fuck, what kind of peerless melon is this? There were two people in the video. One of them was very familiar. Who was that face, Yuni? Although the other face was much stranger, many people still recognized it. It was actually Yun Zimo of the Yun family. Under their eyes, the woman said to Yun Zimo, "Big brother, the disguise technique you hired someone to teach me is really useful. Everyone was fooled by me." Then, the woman started to change her appearance bit by bit. Her original face actually became Tangua's. Even her expression and actions were exactly the same as Tangua's. A smile appeared on her lips. Now, she can't wash her innocence. Although the video was very short, and there were not many words, many netizens understood something. You're really ruthless. Yun Zimo's expression changed. With just a short video, Yun Zimo, Yuni, and the Yun family can forget about making a comeback. Isn't it all because of the sins you brought upon yourselves? You provoked me. Now you should let me go, right? I only said that I wouldn't kill you. I didn't say that I would let you go. After speaking, Tangwa suddenly asked, "Where's the real Yun Zimo? In my body, I've always been suppressed." Then I'm relieved. You, under the pained expression of Yun Zimo, Tangwa extracted his mental strength. Tongzi, send a message to the 3 ones. Tell them that I've caught someone from their enemy's family. I don't know when we'll be able to meet them, or ask them to think of a way to get it. Ask my fake brother if he wants to bring it back for research. I'll keep it for him. Okay, Madam Host. Tangwa squatted down and checked on Yun Zimo. She found that he was indeed still alive. However, his mental strength had been suppressed for many years, and she did not know if he could wake up. Then, she put on the invisibility cloak and used the teleportation talisman to teleport away. Before she left, she even made the system block the Yun family's phone and internet signals. As for what they would do when they woke up tomorrow morning, she did not know. The moment she appeared in the room, Rongsu hugged her tightly and kissed her cheek. "So my Xiao Gua is a fairy. Then you have to treat me better. Otherwise, I'll fly away." Chapter 26:01. Rongsu had already seen the video on the internet. In fact, as soon as it appeared, his subordinates called him to report the news. "Xiaogua, I asked them to take action just now. That video should be made by you, right? The person in the video is you, right? Although it's perfect and I can't see any flaws, my intuition tells me that it's you. It's me. Brother Rong, I'm tired. Let's sleep." "Okay, go to sleep." The system looked at the starry sky outside. Was she going to sleep just like that? "Host, do you know how big of a thing you've done?" A video made everyone on the internet lose their sleepiness. When she woke up, Tangwa turned on her phone and found that not only was there a hot search about the video and the Yun family, but there was also another hot search. She clicked on it and found that it was also a video. This video was actually a video of her attending the birthday banquet of the diplomat. Although many people's faces were mosaicked in the video, only hers and Rongsu's were not. There was also a video of them going through layers of security and fingerprint records. "Shaolin was really worried about you this time," Rongsu said. "This kid, I really didn't dote on him for nothing." Tangwa smiled with relief. It was useful to have a younger brother. At this time, Tangwa also found that many television stations were actually helping her promote the movie for free. She was even named by the news broadcast. Before it was broadcast, they had already started praising her. Such an honor made Tangwa a little happy. After all, Xiaoguo won glory for the country in the last movie. Whether you're good or not, those who see it clearly will naturally know. This movie is definitely at the level of a phenomenon. Our country really hopes for more good works like this to appear. Then I'll film more good works like this in the future and repay them. Tangwa smiled. No matter how much experience she had, who wouldn't like and be unhappy to be liked and acknowledged by others? Compared to the warmth at Tangwa's place, the Yun family's place was gloomy. They couldn't believe that all of this was directed and acted by Yun E. But everything in the video was real. Moreover, the place where it was filmed was in Yun Zimo's room. Regardless of who took the video, now that Yun Zimo had fainted for no reason, there was no news from the doctor about when Yun Zimo would wake up. Yun E, who had always been indifferent, could no longer remain calm this time. Her face was pale and her eyes were flustered. She opened her mouth to explain that the person in the video was really not her. But the look in the eyes of the Yun family was really too scary. Did you attack Zimo? What did you do to Zimo? Mother Yun looked at Yun E with a face full of suspicion. Xiaoyi, I really didn't expect that all of this was part of your scheme. For you, we never took the initiative to contact Tangwa. Why did you do all this? Do you hate us for not finding you earlier? Yun E bit her lips and didn't say a word. Tears kept falling from her eyes. Suddenly, she said, I just want to surpass her. Don't you always say that I'm outstanding? If I don't surpass her, how can I be considered outstanding? So you used this method to surpass her? Father Yun asked. Yun E gritted her teeth. It's Big Brother, he. She wanted to say that all of this was because of Yun Zimo's bewitchment. Otherwise, how would she have the guts to do so? Just because Zimo dotes on you, you got him to help you plan all of this, is that right? Mother Yun was on the verge of breaking down. Of her 3 sons, she actually liked Yun Zimo the most. She had handed all of the responsibilities of the Yun family to Yun Zimo. Chapter 2602. For the sake of Yun E, giving up Tangwa was nothing. But now, because of Yun E, their Zimo was basically ruined. The Yun family shares had been falling since last night, and were still falling. No, Yuni wanted to explain. It was clearly Yun Zimo who found her first and helped her plan all this. She did not take the initiative at all. Why did they think this way? At this moment, Father Yun received a call from the company. He looked at Yun E and hurriedly left with Mother Yun. Because of the clarification of Tangwa on the internet, it was really too shocking. Those who had once scolded Tangwa felt their faces burning. Those who had stopped being fans and stepped on her were also very embarrassed. The person who caused all this was still Yun E. So now, Yun E was being slandered like the bottom of a pot. Now, everyone was boycotting Yun Yi's TV series. Not long after, the director said that the TV series might not be able to be aired as scheduled. The netizens expressed their satisfaction. And ever since that day, Yun E did not seem to appear in the eyes of the public. Seeing that countless people were scolding Yun E, Tangwa did not feel happy. If she did not have a way to clear her name, she would be the one being scolded like this. Because the previous incident was too big, the whole country knew about this movie. The box office this time was even more than the previous movie. Ranshu sighed. Fortunately, there is so much evidence to prove your innocence this time. If not, where can I find a female lead in my movie in the future? Yun Zimo had been in a coma. In the middle of it, Yun Zishu came to find Tangwa and apologized to her. Although she did not mean to blame him, Yun Zishu could clearly feel that they could not go back to the past. Xiaoyi has been locking herself in the house every day now. Tangwa asked, Third brother, why are you telling me this? We will take good care of her and not let her hurt you. Tangwa smiled. They? Was it Father Yun and Mother Yun? No matter what their motive was, it was too late. Because of this matter, the Yun family's stock fell to the bottom. Because Cui Taixin chased Cui Bing away and completely took control of the Cui family, he began to intentionally or unintentionally target the Yun family. Tang Lin also came up with evil ideas behind the scenes. The Yun family's assets shrank again, and they almost didn't have good days. Later on, Yun E stopped acting. She had a gap with her parents, and the warm family she once had became suffocating. Looking at Father Yun and Mother Yun's blaming eyes every day, she couldn't stay in this place any longer. Later on, she carried the drawing board and went out to relax. She went out early in the morning and came back very late at night. Father Yoon and Mother Yoon were no longer so concerned about her. It was as if they blamed Yoon Zimo's accident on her. Especially when she heard that the two of them were even picking out gifts to apologize to Tanggwa, her expression became even more gloomy. This day, Yoon-e didn't come back at the same time as usual. The Yoon couple didn't look for her either. They thought she was just throwing a tantrum, so they didn't bother. Unexpectedly, the next day, they received news that Yoon-e had been kidnapped. The kidnapper wanted them to pay a ransom of 50 million yuan, or they would kill her. If it was in the past, 50 million yuan was really nothing to the Yoon family. They could take it out casually. However, many things had happened recently. If they took out 50 million yuan, wouldn't they be asking for the Yoon couple's lives? Therefore, they hesitated. In the end, Yoon-e didn't die. However, her face was slashed and she looked even more gloomy. The Yoon couple seemed to feel a little guilty and got someone to investigate who did it. Not long after, Tang Wan and Chui Bing's tendons were severed, and they ended up in a miserable state. Chapter 2603. When the Yoon family and Yoon-e said that they had already avenged her, it was as if they had regained their previous relationship with her. However, after a while, the Yoon couple were both imprisoned. It was said that they were guilty of intentional injury. Did Yoon-e report them and break the tendons of Chui Bing and Tang Wen's hands and feet? Rong Su nodded. The last time Yoon-e was kidnapped, it was Chui Bing and Tang Wen. They asked for 50 million, but the Yoon couple didn't give it to them. Yoon-e must be holding a grudge. Actually, they didn't have much feelings for each other. Yoon-e's crazy actions angered Yoon Zishan. In the end, he sent her to a mental hospital. Only then did the Yoon family stop. However, the Yoon couple was imprisoned. The evidence was conclusive, and it was at this point, so the sentence was rather heavy. Now, the Yoon family was scattered, injured, imprisoned, and even unconscious. Yoon Zishan rubbed his messy hair anxiously. Shouldn't we have been so persistent from the beginning and hurt Xiaoguo for her? Yoon Zishan glanced at him. Regret? It's useless. Second brother, liquidate your assets and file for bankruptcy. Big brother still needs to continue hospitalization. I'm not cut out for that. I'll owe more and more debts. Got it. After the Yoon Corporation declared bankruptcy, Yoon Zishan seemed to be unable to survive in the industry. No one was willing to look for him. The artists under him either jumped ship or were put in a difficult position by other artists in the industry. He suddenly remembered that he had offended everyone in this industry for Yoon-e. There was also Chiu Legay. Some popular actors seemed to be unwilling to take on their roles. They were waiting for Tanggwa. It was good that they wanted to drink a mouthful of soup, so they worked hard to improve their abilities. Only then could they be chosen. Rong Su felt that he was really lucky in this life. He actually managed to coax a fairy into his hands. In the end, the fairy didn't fly away. When she left, she was in his arms. When the fairy closed her eyes, he smiled and hugged her, falling asleep. His body was not bad. Logically speaking, he should be able to live for a long time. It shouldn't be a problem for him to live for 100 years. However, after his fairy left, his life seemed to have come to an end. He didn't have any attachment to this world. Recalling that before his fairy left, she had used all of his savings to buy groceries, he found it funny and asked her why she had bought so many groceries. Helping out some refugees and doing some good deeds will accumulate good fortune for you. You can still be with me in your next life. Do you have any objections? At that time, he said, why don't I sell the company and use the money to buy groceries for you to help the refugees? How about that? Leave some for our nephews. We have 2 bachelors in our family. Leave them some money for their retirement. Just like that, they left together. After Tanggwa passed away, many people were very sad. Many TV stations kept replaying the films she had filmed. Watching them made people cry. Tanggwa's fans, they've been fans of a fake actress for their entire lives, but they don't regret it at all. Yoon Zimo, who had been lying in the hospital for God knows how many years, woke up on this day. He opened his eyes and saw Yoon Zishu sitting by the bed, seemingly watching a movie. His entire body was weak. He opened his mouth and only spoke after a long time. Zishu? Big brother? Yun Zishu walked in front of Yun Zimo and lowered his head. It's been decades. You're finally awake. Big brother, I've always wanted to ask you a question. Why did you help Xiaoyi frame Xiaogua like that? Yun Zimo smiled bitterly. If I said I didn't, would you believe me? Yun Zishu suddenly remembered that a long time ago, someone had asked him the same question. At that time, he didn't believe it, so he didn't answer. Since Big Brother says you didn't, I believe you. Zishu, I'll tell you in the future. All of this is too ridiculous. Where's Xiaogua? She left many years ago. You see, I'm already old. Chapter 2604. When you see Yinwei later, don't throw a tantrum with him, understand? No matter what kind of woman is sent to him, she can't compare to you. You just need to perform perfectly and show your kindness and gentleness. Let the other party understand that they can't surpass you, and let Yinwei understand that you are irreplaceable. This time, when Tangwa woke up, she was in the car again. It was different from the private luxury cars in the previous world. This car was probably a very expensive limousine. She could instantly tell that the Yinwei the woman next to her was talking about was not a simple person. From the sound of it, their relationship seemed to be somewhat unusual. I've already told you everything that needs to be said. Don't put on airs in front of Yinwei. Ever since your father passed away, we can only rely on Yinwei from now on. Luckily, your father died for Yinwei. We can stay by his side for the rest of our lives without any worries. At this point, the woman's voice became softer until it was almost beside Tangwa's ear. But this is not enough. You have to think of a way to make Yinwei place you at the top of his heart and become Mrs. Yin. Once you are Mrs. Yan's wife and give birth to an heir for him, no matter how many women he has outside, we won't have to be afraid. Tangwa's lips twitched, but she did not intend to refute this woman. Mom knows that you actually like Yinwei. Otherwise, you wouldn't have stood in front of him without hesitation when he was in danger. Isn't that right? Luckily, it was only the blanket that time and it was wiped off. If it had hit any other place, that person would not have been useless, especially that face. All right, that's all you have to say. Don't think about monopolizing Yinwei. This man is in control of everything. You can't monopolize him alone. Just guard your position as Mrs. Yin. Tangwa nodded gently and then asked, how much longer until we arrive? See, I knew it. After attending the exhibition, you ignored everything and came straight back when you heard the news. It must be because of that woman who was sent to Yinwei. Yiyame smiled. Actually, you don't have to worry. Yinwei doesn't treat that woman well. I think he brought her back to humiliate the Shi family. For the sake of their company, the Shi family gave their daughter to Yinwei as a plaything. They probably won't be able to raise their heads in the industry for the rest of their lives. Tangwa didn't say anything else. It seemed that things were more complicated than she had imagined. She just didn't know what role her character played in it. According to her cheap mother, Yinwei should have a great background. He was most likely the male lead of this world, and the woman who was sent to his side was probably the female lead. Moreover, there was also a character like her. This should be a story of a sadistic love story. Mom, I want to rest for a while. All right, there's still an hour before we arrive. It's best if you take a nap and recover your energy before meeting Yinwei. Yinwei is not an ordinary man. Don't show your weak and helpless side in front of him. It will annoy him. Tangwa didn't care about Yiyame's nagging. She leaned to the side and closed her eyes. Dear host, this is another sad story. You have to calm down after reading it. Although the system knew that Tangwa wouldn't get angry easily, it still kindly reminded her. Chapter 2605. Previously, when he came to this world, he had scanned through this story. The tragedy of the original owner of the story could be considered an unexpected disaster. Her existence could be said to be the obstacle, the stepping stone, and the catalyst for the male and female lead. Without her existence, the relationship between the male and female lead might not have improved in the end. Tangwa started to receive the memory with doubts. The male lead of this world was Yinwei, and the female lead was the woman who was sent to Yinwei's house. Her name was Shi Shuexin, and she was currently appointed by Yinwei as a maid in the manor. Her status was very low. At the beginning of the story, Yin father, and Shi Shuoxin's father talked about it. It could be said that Yin father was indirectly killed by Shi Shuoxin's father. Shi Shuoxin's father didn't expect Yin father to have such a powerful background. After he defeated Yin father, Yin grandfather appeared and took Yin away. Shi Shuoxin became his grandfather's only successor. Yin father left the family to work alone because of his family's objection. He was young and had some ability, so he did make a name for himself. However, Shi Shuoxin's father bore a grudge against him. He thought that Yin father's appearance disrupted the market, so he played some tricks and caused Yin father to suffer. Yin father and grandfather were not on good terms. Yin grandfather saw that his father was stubborn and did not contact him for many years. When he was about to die, he found out that his son had been indirectly killed. The Yin family was quite powerful, and he did not have much time to live. In the end, he chose to nurture Yin and let Yin take revenge on his own. This was the beginning. Shi Shuoxin was sent to Yin side because her family was in trouble. Yin did not intend to let the Shi family go. He agreed to this condition just to play with them. When he was done playing, he would throw the woman of the Yin family out and then swallow the Shi family up, making the Shi family despair. However, he did not expect that there were so many ties between him and Shi Shuoxin. When Shi Shuoxin was sent to the manor on the first day, he made her his woman. It was not that he liked Shi Shuoxin, but he wanted to humiliate her. Shi Shuoxin was a weak-looking woman. She was only 19 years old, but she was sent to his side for the sake of her family. The man who originally looked gentle and elegant actually treated her like that the moment he arrived. However, she had come willingly for the sake of her family, so no matter how Yin tortured and humiliated her, she did not resist, especially after the original owner returned. At night, Yin treated her like a tool. During the day, she would see Yin pampering the original owner to the heavens. He would even let her serve the original owner tea. She was clearly telling her that she was just a lowly servant girl who slept in the same room. Under this kind of torture, even if the original owner was sad, Yin was willing to be intimate with the daughter of his enemy. He had always had a pure relationship with her and didn't put Shi Shuoxin in his eyes. He didn't deliberately torment Shi Shuoxin. When the servants in the manor saw how much Yin disliked Shi Shuoxin, they gradually began to bully and torture her, making her life miserable. In the end, when Yin asked Shi Shuoxin to bring him a cup of hot coffee from the manor, she fell ill outside his office. Chapter 2606. This was the first time Yin felt flustered about Shi Shuoxin. He sent her to the hospital without stopping. After this time, Yin was much gentler to Shi Shuoxin, whether it was day or night. There was even a period of time when Yin seemed to have forgotten the hatred between the two families. He treated Shi Shuoxin better and better, and even fired the servants who bullied her. Then, Shi Shuoxin felt a trace of sweetness in her heart. The reason why she felt something for someone who hurt her was because she was actually not liked by Shi Shuoxin's father. Everyone knew that Shi Shuoxin's father's first wife had been in a coma for 15 years. Many people advised him to give up. His wife could not wake up, but he still did not give up. Even another infatuated woman who had been silently accompanying him did not have the chance to get a status. They thought that Shi Shuoxin was the only eldest daughter of the Shi family. In fact, her cheap father had been with the woman who accompanied him for a long time and had a daughter. It was just that she was raised in another place and no one found out. Moreover, the story was quite complicated. It involved the reason why the male and female lead would bury the hatchet in the future. Yin was tempted by Shi Shuoxin and was gentle to her. The original owner, who was watching silently, clearly felt Yin thoughts. She didn't have the consciousness to do anything to Shi Shuoxin. At most, she would give her a warning or two. In addition, she was a little reserved and couldn't put down her airs to ask for anything. However, she still took the initiative to ask for Yin. But Yin, this man, actually didn't like her. There were only two reasons for raising her in the manor. First, her father did die for him, and she was also a person who was sincere to him. After all, she stood in front of him without hesitation. Second, he needed a weakness. The original owner happened to be his weakness. Even if someone threatened him, he wouldn't be threatened in the end. Yes, this man was cold-blooded and heartless. Even when treating the daughter of his savior, he was more of a use. If he hadn't been so deeply involved with Shi Xuexin, he might not have been able to go to the end with Shi Xuexin. It could also be said that such a cold man, once moved, would be more affectionate than anyone else. Moreover, when the truth came out, how deeply he had hurt Shi Xuexin, all the guilt would turn into love for her, and their feelings would naturally deepen. Later on, Yanwei suddenly remembered that Shi Xuexin was the daughter of his enemy. In his confusion, he began to humiliate and torture her. Shi Shui was heartbroken and sad. Every day, she would secretly wipe her face. However, at this moment, something else happened. Shi Xuexin and the original owner were kidnapped by Yanwei's enemies at the same time. The other party seemed to have noticed that the two were kidnapped in different directions. Given the situation at that time, he could only appear on one side to save them. The other side sent other people over. In the end, he chose to save the original host. After all, at this time, he was denying himself. He was angry at himself for having feelings for the daughter of his enemy. The host was saved safely, but Shi Xuexin's situation was not good. In the end, Shi Xuexin was sent to the hospital with blood all over her body. Yanwei regretted it again. Looking at the dying Shi Xuexin, his heart was filled with pain. This was the second time that he was soft-hearted towards Shi Shui and worried about her safety. Chapter 2607. Yanwei regretted not saving her at that time. He realized that even if she was the daughter of his enemy, he seemed to be moved by her. At this time, Yanwei was still very conflicted. Later on, his love rival appeared and various things happened between him and Shi Xuexin. Shi Xuexin became more and more important in his heart. But he still didn't clear up the misunderstanding and let the outside world think that the original owner was the woman he cared about the most. Even by chance, he found out the truth about Shi Xuexin and the Shi family. This made him feel less guilty towards his father. He secretly decided that after everything was over, he would give Shi Xuexin an explanation. Now for her safety, he didn't want the public to think that she was the most important in his heart. Thus, Shi Xuexin and the original owner were kidnapped for the second time. This time, Yanwei didn't hesitate and chose to save Shi Xuexin first. Because at this time, the original owner was seen as a weakness on the surface and was the one who took the bullet for Shi Xuexin. Because of saving Shi Xuexin, he missed the best time to save the original owner. The people who kidnapped her seemed to be up to no good. They bullied her, and after bullying her, they sold her and took many photos to send to Yanwei in an attempt to humiliate him. In the end, the original owner was saved by Yanwei. She also seemed to have found out that she was the one who took the bullet for Shi Xuexin. The original owner, who had experienced all these tragic events, could no longer maintain the cold beauty of the past. Her heart began to gradually collapse, and the once clear and transparent eyes began to have many more emotions. She started to deliberately make things difficult for Shi Xuexin and blamed Yanwei in her heart. But now Shi Xuexin was Yanwei's treasure and naturally, she couldn't get anything good. The original owner was a weak woman with no power and no power. How could she deal with Yanwei? Even after she slandered him, she used all means to stir up trouble. In the end, Yanwei couldn't bear it and drove her out of the manor. Because she was too beautiful, a weak woman was driven out. What else could she do? In desperation, she jumped into the sea when no one was looking. Yamei was a vain person. She even wanted to reap without sowing. She was a person who had many schemes in her heart. As for Shi Xuexin and Yanwei, later on, they still stumbled. Without the original owner, there were all kinds of obstacles. Yanwei had abused and loved Shi Xuexin. He loved and abused her. In the end, he didn't know how it came to fruition. After reading the plot, Tanghua opened her eyes. Coincidentally, the car had already arrived at the manor. Come, look in the mirror and touch up your makeup. When you appear in front of Yanwei, you must be beautiful and clean. He hates dirty things. Tanghua glanced at Yamei. She felt that if her cheap mother were 20 or 30 years younger, she might not have asked her to come. Instead, she would have come by herself. Tangwa did not refute. She obediently looked at herself in the mirror and touched up her makeup. She hadn't figured out what to do yet, so she decided to check on those two first. In short, Yinwei was definitely out to get him. As for Shishuashin, she was no different from her. She was just a caged bird being manipulated. She had never taken the initiative to harm the original owner of the body. Through her memories, she had suffered a lot. However, Shishuashin, who had suffered so much, was still able to be together with Yinwei. In the end, they even had a child and got married. Forgive her for not being able to understand. Could it be that this was the greatness of love? No matter how many times one was stabbed, it could not stop the footsteps of true love. Chapter 2608. Walking into the manor, she could see the servants who were busy in the manor. Seeing that she was back, everyone smiled at her eagerly and addressed her respectfully. Miss Tang? Hello, Miss Tang. Welcome back, Miss Tang. Tangwa maintained a cold expression on her face as she gently bowed her head to these people. Then, with light steps, she went straight inside. When she entered the living room, she did not see Yinwei. Instead, she saw a girl in a servant's uniform who was mopping the floor. She was very young and unfamiliar in her memory. She looked very beautiful. She should be Shishuashin. Shishuashin seemed to have noticed her too. She looked up instinctively and saw a beautiful woman in a white dress standing at the door. She took a step back instinctively. This is Miss Tang. You can call her Miss Tang. A servant said to Shishuashin in a condescending manner while flattering Tangwa. Why aren't you warming a glass of warm milk for Miss Tang? It's so cold. Do you want Miss Tang to freeze to death? No need. There's a heater in the room. Just as Shishuashin was about to move, Tangwa stopped her and asked, Where is Mr. Yin? Miss Tang, Mr. Yin is in the study. Then go warm a glass of warm milk. I'll bring it to him later. The servant did not expect Tangwa to ask her to do it directly, but she still smiled and planned to ask Shishuashin to do it after Tangwa went upstairs. Unexpectedly, Tangwa said, Go warm it. Don't give it to others. She's new here, right? Tangwa glanced at Shishuashin. I'm afraid that she can't grasp the temperature that Mr. Yin likes. Now, the servant did not dare to ask Shishuashin to do it. Before going upstairs, Tangwa glanced at Shishuashin. Shishuashin was also sizing her up. In fact, after being in the manor for so many days, she had heard about Miss Tang from many people. It was said that she was a very young artist. This time, she seemed to have gone abroad to hold an art exhibition. Didn't she say that she would be back next month? She was like the hostess here. Shishuashin suddenly understood something. However, if she had a choice, she wouldn't want to be here. However, she had no choice but to come. This Yinwei was a vicious wolf. She had initially thought that he was a gentle and refined person. Since Miss Tang was a young and beautiful artist, why would she follow a wolf like Yinwei? Isn't she afraid to be around a wolf like that? Yinwei was such a terrifying person. Could it be that the other party did not want to escape? Based on her intuition, she realized that this Miss Tang seemed to be different from what she had imagined. She didn't seem to have any hostility towards her. She didn't know if it was just her imagination, but she felt like the other party was warning the servant. Soon, Shishuashin threw these thoughts to the back of her mind. Thinking about how she was humiliated by Yinwei every day, she bit her lips. She didn't know when these days would end. Tangwa didn't know what Shishuashin was thinking. When the warm milk was delivered, she sent it to Yinwei. He knocked on the door, and a low voice sounded from inside. Who? Mr. Yin. It's me. Xiaogua. Yinwei was surprised at first. Then he seemed to understand something and said, Come in. Tangwa held the warm milk in front of him and sized up Yinwei at the same time. Sir, don't always be busy with work. When it's time to rest, you still have to rest. Take care of yourself. Okay. Yinwei replied simply and drank the milk she brought over. Didn't you say that you'll be back next month? The exhibition is already over. There's no need to stay here. The outside can't be compared to home. Yinwei nodded and didn't ask any more questions. As if thinking of something, he stood up and suddenly grabbed Tangwa's hand. Under Tangwa's surprised gaze, he led her out of the study and into the living room. You, come here. Yanwei pointed at Shi Shuexin, who was cleaning in the living room. His voice made Shi Shuexin tremble. If it weren't for her quick reflexes, she might have knocked over the things in her hands. Chapter 2609. She's a newcomer to the manor. Xiaogua, you can ask her to do anything for you in the future. Yanwei stood on the stairs with Tanggua and looked down at Shi Shuexin, who was covered in dust. Tanggua, who was standing beside Yanwei, was wearing a snow-white dress. The contrast was particularly striking. Even Shi Shuexin felt a little awkward as an ugly duck standing in front of a white swan. She didn't know why Yanwei would specifically ask Tanggua to do this, but she didn't think much of it. She had agreed to all of this willingly. As long as her cheap father kept his word, she would stay here obediently. No matter what Yanwei did to her, she wouldn't resist. Anyway, she would live like that in the Shi family. Even if she wasn't given to Yanwei, her mother and daughter wouldn't let her have an easy time. And her cheap father wouldn't care about her life at all. Did you hear that? Yanwei seemed to have noticed that Shi Shuexin was distracted. He frowned slightly and looked a little impatient. It wasn't hard to see the disdain and disgust in his eyes. I heard it. Shi Shuexin sighed in her heart and nodded quickly without any complaints. It was her submissive attitude that made Yanwei a little unhappy. And on the Shi family's side, that man seemed to be very attentive to him, as if he was trying to curry favor with him. Just wait a little longer. When he was done teasing them, he would let the Shi family understand what it meant to be hopeless. Just like how that man teased his parents back then. Xiaogua is the mistress of this manor. He seemed to want to deal a heavy blow to Shi Shuexin. You have to listen to whatever she asks you to do. It was rare for Yanwei to show some warmth on his face. The way he looked at Tanggua was much gentler than the way he looked at Shi Shuexin. Even though he knew that Yanwei had his own motives for saying all this, he still had his own reasons for doing so. But Tanggua still showed some surprise and joy at the right time. Her expression was just right and suited her current persona. System, just wait and see. It's going to collapse sooner or later. I've never seen the host maintain his persona from the beginning to the end. Even when he was still a muddle-headed system back then, the host's persona hadn't been completely maintained during their first mission. It was just that it collapsed slightly at that time. But now, it collapsed whenever he wanted to. Once it collapsed, it would collapse. Not long after Tanggua was sent back to her room, Shi Shuexin was still working in the living room, feeling a little uneasy. So, it seemed that Miss Tang was really Yanwei's? She bit her lip. She didn't quite understand. Since Yanwei cared so much about Miss Tang, why did he still force her? Wasn't this betraying his lover? Also, what Yanwei said today was because of her appearance. Would Miss Tang find trouble with her? She was a little nervous and didn't want to be enemies with that beautiful woman at all. He felt that the other party was a little pitiful. Perhaps she should understand that a man like Yanwei, how could he only have one woman by his side? As long as he wanted, the women who was willing to stay by his side. In her opinion, Miss Tang didn't look like someone who stayed for vanity's sake. Wasn't she a very young artist? She should be able to support herself and meet her needs, right? Under Shi Shuexin's uneasiness, Tanggua didn't come downstairs even once. Chapter 2610. Only when it was time for dinner did she come down. Yiyame appeared at the same time as her. They sat down together, but Yanwei had not come down yet. Yiyame looked at Shi Shuexin from head to toe and said, "Are you new here?" Shi Shuexin nodded. She felt that Yiyame did not look friendly, so she answered carefully, "Oh." Yiyame looked at Shi Shuexin and heaved a sigh of relief. Indeed, Yanwei did not care about this woman. He probably hated her. "I'm a little thirsty. Go get me a glass of water." Yiyame decided to show Shi Shuexin who she was. She wanted to let her know who was the mistress of this manor. She did not care how many women Yanwei would have in the future. As long as they did not surpass her daughter and wanted to be the mistress of this manor, she would be obedient. Shi Shuexin quickly went to get the water. Tanggua glanced at Yiyame. This mother of hers was really a villain. She was showing off her villainous side to the fullest. Not long after, Shi Shuexin came back with the water. Yiyame poured the water for her. Yiyame took a sip and frowned. "Why is it so hot?" "You." Before she could finish her sentence, Tangwa stopped her. Mother, let it cool down if it's hot. It won't be hot after a while. Yiyame did not expect Tangwa to stop her. Suddenly, she saw a surprised and grateful look in Shi Shuashin's eyes. She was no longer angry. Xiaogua is so thoughtful. Then, let it cool down. Just cool it down. Shi Shuashin let out a long breath. She was right. Miss Tang was a beautiful and kind person in this manner. She was used to seeing the mother and daughter's faces. How could she not know that Yiyame was making things difficult for her? But she was used to it and was prepared for it. She did not expect that Miss Tang, whom she met for the first time, would help her out twice. Ever since she was young, besides her mother in her memory, no one else had thought of her in this way. System. Host, the way Shi Shuashin looks at you is a bit strange, isn't it? Tangwa subconsciously glanced at Shi Shuashin. She saw Shi Shuashin give her a sweet smile with some gratitude. Then, she quickly lowered her head and pretended that nothing had happened. System. Isn't it strange? Host. Why is Shi Shuashin smiling foolishly at you? Tangwa said, maybe she's trying to find joy in her misery. She suddenly realized that I'm pretty, so she smiled at me. System. To be honest, he doesn't really believe it. The host is spouting nonsense again with a straight face. The first day passed peacefully just like that. To prevent Yiyame from causing trouble for her, Tangwa even talked to her. Mom, don't make things difficult for Shi Shuashin. Don't order her around. Just treat her as if she's invisible. Yiyame was a little surprised. Didn't you feel uncomfortable because of this woman? Isn't Mom helping you vent your anger? Although we can't stop Yanwei from having so many women around him, I have plenty of ways to deal with these little vixens. Mom, didn't you say that I only need to ensure my status? If I deal with them, won't I be lowering my status? Perhaps Mr. Su Yin won't care, but he won't think highly of me either. Yiyame thought about it. That seemed to be the case. Yanwei didn't care about Shi Shuashin at all. It would be unnecessary for her to do anything. Chapter 26:11. She had heard from the servants in the manor that the girl had not had a good day ever since she entered the manor. All right, I won't torment her in the future. She doesn't have a good day anyway. Not only can't you torment her, but you can't instigate others either. Tangwa looked at Yiyame seriously. In Mr. Yan's eyes, I'm a very simple person. If I do something to bully someone, he will think that I ordered you to do it. He won't let me stay by his side for long. Right? Yiyame was frightened by her words. If they were chased out of the manor, how are they going to live? Yiyame's arrogance and smugness disappeared, and she became serious. Xiaogua, you're right. It's easy for him to find out anything in this manor. We can't escape from him no matter what we do. Seeing that Yiyame really understood, Tangwa was slightly relieved. In the storyline, after the original Yiyame jumped into the sea and died, the cowardly and vain Yiyame dared to poison Yanwei in order to take revenge. She couldn't just stand by and do nothing. She wasn't a good person, but there was some sincerity in her. Especially for such a Philistine person, it was rare. Mom, if you have nothing to do, go to the beauty salon and go shopping with those Annies. Also, don't talk about Mr. Yin bringing women back. Just live your life well. I'll take care of the manor, so you don't have to worry. All right. Xiaogua has really grown up and matured. She knows what's best for her. System. That's because the host is afraid that you'll cause trouble and ruin her plans. It's not because of that idiot Yanwei. Late at night, Tangwa heard a struggling sound and opened her eyes. She could only blame her sharp eyes and ears. Even if the original Yiyame didn't have such abilities, when her soul landed in this body, not only did her eyes and ears become smarter, her movements also became more agile. Not only did the sound not become softer, it became louder and louder. Judging from the direction, it should be coming from Yanwei's room. There weren't any screams, just the sound of a woman enduring humiliation. At first, there was some struggle, but in the end, there was silence. After a long time, Tangwa heard the door open. Judging from the light footsteps, it should be Shi Shuashin. Shi Shuashin tugged at her tattered clothes and carefully went downstairs. Suddenly, she felt something. She looked up and saw a woman standing not far away. If she hadn't covered her mouth in time, she would have screamed. Her eyes flashed with panic. From their previous contact, this Miss Tang should like Yinwei very much, right? Now that he saw her like this, what would he think? He thought that she was a vixen and hated her. He might even make things difficult for her tomorrow. Thinking about it, Shi Shuixin actually felt a little sad. Miss Tang, who had helped her out twice today, would probably join the army of people who hated her tomorrow. Chapter 26:12. The next day, Shi Shuixin was still a little uneasy. Later, she realized that Tang Tanghua did not cause her any trouble at all. She even called her over when the other servants wanted to make things difficult for her and asked her to help her dry the paintings. Now, she took out the paintings that Tang Tanghua painted to dry. Looking at the paintings, she could not help but be entranced. Miss Tang was not only good-looking, but her paintings were also beautiful. No wonder she could hold an exhibition abroad. But why did she fall in love with someone like Yinwei? It was such a pity. Shi Shuixin sat on a small stool and held her cheeks. Her eyes swept over every painting. There were all kinds of paintings. This day was probably the most relaxing day she had ever had. She had been drying the paintings the whole day, and no one dared to make things difficult for her. Because Miss Tang had said in a cold tone in front of everyone, "My paintings are very important. You have to guard them and dry them. You can't afford to be responsible if something goes wrong." Because Tanghua valued these words too much, those who wanted to make things difficult for Shi Shuixin did not dare to come up. If they damaged Miss Tang's paintings, they would definitely be in trouble. They wanted to frame Shi Shuixin, but there were people everywhere in the manor. Also, Miss Tang really valued those paintings too much. She even exposed Shi Shuixin to the camera's range. At that time, she said, "There are cameras here. Don't think about slacking off." Everyone thought that Shi Shuixin had provoked Tanghua and deliberately made things difficult for her. But Shi Shuixin did not think so. She always felt that Miss Tang did this to help her. No one in the manor was nice to her. They all looked at her as a joke. Although she could not slack off in front of the camera, she would not be framed, right? Did Miss Tang know that those people wanted to make things difficult for her? Before this, she had indeed been framed. Today, all he needed to do was to find a shady spot and sit there, guarding the paintings. She did not need to mop the floor, clean the bathroom, scrub the toilet, or do all kinds of chores in the manor. It was really relaxing. Shi Shuixin looked at her hands. It was very cold, and she often touched water, and it was cold water. It caused her hands to have some frostbite. Fortunately, the weather was good and there was sun. She felt more comfortable during the day, but she was also busy and tired during the day. As the sun slowly set in the afternoon, Shi Shuixin began to put away these paintings. Suddenly, a voice came from behind her. "Your hands are so rough. You'll ruin my painting." System. Yes, he suspected that the host had once been a straight man. A man who spoke like that didn't have a girlfriend. Even if he did have a girlfriend, she would run over halfway. Shi Shuixin did not take these words to heart at all. She hesitated for a moment and said, "Then I'll wear gloves." "I'm sorry, Miss Tang. It was my negligence." Tanghua glanced at her and said, "Gloves can only solve the problem temporarily. They can't cure the root of the problem. Since you've taken over my job, you have to take good care of your hands. Otherwise, you'll ruin my painting." Shi Shuixin couldn't help but curse in her heart. She finally found a new piece of information. In Miss Tang's eyes, other than Yinwei, paintings were also very important. "Come to my room later. I have a lot of unused hand masks and hand creams. You can use them. I've already thrown those things away. Letting you use them is also a waste." Shi Shuixin. Why did she feel a little warm in her heart after hearing such vicious words? She really had seen a ghost. Chapter 26:13. The people in the manor only knew that Tanghua was coldly scolding Shi Shuixin. After Shi Shuixin carefully put away the paintings, she quickly ran to Tanghua's room. The people outside didn't know what happened inside, but they vaguely heard the words paintings and damaged. They were shocked. Did that clumsy woman, Shi Shuixin, damage Miss Tang's paintings? Now that Miss Tang had called Shi Shuixin to her room, they didn't know how she was going to torture Shi Shuixin. They knew that Shi Shuixin wouldn't have a good life now that Miss Tang was back. What they didn't know was that Shi Shuixin was looking at the 2 bags of various skincare products in front of her in a daze. There were so many of them, and they were all famous brands. They were super effective and hadn't even been opened. But Miss Tang said that they were unused and useless. Miss Tang, do you think there's a mistake here? There's no mistake. These things aren't suitable for me. Shi Shuixin swallowed. Many of them haven't been opened. Is there a problem? If you don't feel comfortable, you can open all of them here and take them away. After pausing, Tanghua glanced at Shi Shuixin. I have a lot of things for you to do in the future. Your hands must recover as soon as possible. Otherwise, you'll damage my paintings. My paintings are very expensive. You can't touch them with your rough hands. Do you understand? Yes. Therefore, in order to make her work hard for the other party, Miss Tang gave her these skincare products to maintain her hands. An ordinary person like her would never be able to understand the thought process of an artist. Do you know how to use them?
Yes.
Then let me see. Shi Shuixin chose a suitable one to wipe her hands. She opened the packaging and wiped her swollen hands. Although it wouldn't be effective immediately, she felt comforted and felt that she would recover soon. After Shi Shuixin left happily, the system said, Host, I feel that you're going to cause trouble. Why are you so good to Shi Shuixin? If I didn't know that only the cutie could move you, I would have thought that you had changed your taste. What else can I do? I see that the female lead is a little silly, so I want to coax her over. System, I don't think she's that stupid. She's a bit different from the plot. Speaking of which, with her personality, how could she have a happy ending with Yin Wei? Because you can only see the surface from the plot. How can you not know that under the surface of the happy ending, there is a heart that has long been broken with thousands of holes? Look at her. Why is she enduring all of this in silence? What else could it be? It was because her mother was in her father's hands. If she didn't obediently come over and become Yin Wei's little slave, her father would give up on her mother. After that, her cheap father was pranked by Yin Wei, and her mother still didn't wake up. Do you think she can guarantee her mother's hospital fees on her own? She probably doesn't have a choice. What if it wasn't? What does that have to do with anything? It's best if you can coax him to come over, but if you can't, forget it. System. Host, you're getting more and more fearless. What's there to be afraid of? I just want to do what I want to do. No matter if I win or lose, even if one day I'm defeated and disappear, it's my choice. I have no regrets. Chapter 26:14. The winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Tongzi, do you think we should continue living in fear after traveling through so many worlds? That's so boring. If we don't do something, we'll be letting down these experiences. The system had been persuaded long ago. The host was right. It was impossible not to do anything. What about after coaxing Shi Shuixin over? After that, we'll mess with Yin Wei. Doesn't he like to play with women? I wonder if he'll be played with by a woman one day. The system believed that this day would come. He was a little optimistic about Shi Shuixin. This woman looked at the host with stars in her eyes, like a lackey. He even suspected that Shi Shuixin was the cow that the host liked in this world. After getting along with Tanghua for a while, Shi Shuixin realized that Tanghua was really helping her. Although she seemed to be indifferent to her, and would sometimes pick on some small problems. But every time she seemed to be picking on small problems, she was actually helping her out. The most embarrassing thing was that she would occasionally come out of Yin Wei's room in a sorry state and bump into Tanghua. In the past, she didn't care about these things. But when she thought about how she appeared in front of that clean person like that, she felt a little ashamed and couldn't face it. She didn't expect that the other party could help her more. She was Yin Wei's plaything, a slave that he used to vent his anger on. As for Miss Tang, she lived in this manner. What else could she be? She was still Yin Wei's woman. She couldn't beg in front of him. If she implicated him, it would be her fault. So, Miss Tang was really a kind person. Why would such a good person be Yin Wei's woman and like Yin Wei wholeheartedly? Why couldn't she have her own life and be the master of her own destiny? She didn't doubt that Tanghua liked Yin Wei at all. because every time she saw Yin Wei, her eyes were different. Does Miss Tang like Mr. Yin a lot? Tangwa glanced at Shi Shuixin. Why are you asking this? I just think that such a perfect person like Miss Tang actually likes Mr. Yin. Miss Tang, there are actually many good people in this world. It's not necessarily. If you like her, then you like her. Why do you need so many reasons? Miss Tang, you should know what kind of person Mr. Yin is. Shi Shuixin was a little indignant. Why should such a good person be taken advantage of by that dog, Yin Wei? Yes, from the beginning, Yin Wei was a vicious wolf. Now, in Shi Shuixin's heart, he had become a vicious dog. So what if I know? Tangwa looked at her coldly. You shouldn't be asking about these things. The entire manor belongs to him. If you want to live well, then be obedient. It doesn't matter to me. I've already accepted my fate. But Miss Tang, it's different. You're so beautiful, and you're also a painter. You're so capable, and you still have so many years ahead of you. How many years have I been 22? Tangwa interrupted Shi Shuixin. She raised her eyebrows and glanced at her. You're 19, sister. After Tangwa passed by Shi Shuixin's face turned red. She was right. She was only 19, and Miss Tang was 22 years old this year. She shouldn't have said such things at such a young age. I just think. Shi Shuixin quickly ran up and lowered her voice. Miss Tang deserves a better life. Staying by Mr. Yan's side is the best life for me. At this moment, the door was suddenly pushed open. Yin Wei walked in with a gloomy face. Shi Shuixin was so frightened that she took 2 steps back. Her face turned pale. Oh no, what she said just now must have been heard by this vicious dog. Chapter 26:15. When she thought about how this man, who was like a vicious dog, treated her that night, her body trembled. Now, she was starting to resist. She didn't want to be manipulated like before, but she had always been a pawn. How could she escape? What are you saying to Xiaogua? You're trying to drive a wedge between us, huh? Yin Wei sneered. He walked towards Shi Shuixin and looked down at her. At the same time, he shouted, Wu Dong, come in. Wu Dong was the butler of this manor. He was Yin Wei's most trusted person. Sir, what are your orders? Send Xiaogua back to her room. In the future, don't let this woman talk nonsense in front of Xiaogua. Although he didn't have any feelings for Tangwa, he didn't allow anyone to talk bad about him in front of her. She even tried to drive a wedge between them. She even tried to drive Xiaogua away from him. Has this woman been living too comfortably recently? It seemed that he was being too kind. Mr. Yin, Tangwa called out to Yin Wei. Don't be angry. I won't listen to her. I won't take her words seriously. She glanced at the pale Shi Shuixin. She was still a little silly. There were many eyes and ears in Yin Wei's manor. They would know what she was doing. System, don't worry, you'll learn from your mistakes after suffering some losses. I'm guessing that's what the Great Host thinks too. After all, the Great Host isn't the Bodhisattva Guanyin, so it's impossible for the Great Host to protect her. If Shi Shuixin wants to change everything, she can only save herself. Tangwa didn't refute Yin Wei. She was very obedient and let Wu Dong send her back to her room. Not long after she returned to her room, Wu Dong considerately closed the door. Then, she saw Yin Wei roughly drag Shi Shuixin into the room. What followed was the sound of the door slamming. Following the sound of the door closing was Shi Shuixin's frightened scream. After that scream, Shi Shuixin's voice gradually became softer. It was as if she had accepted her fate and didn't resist anymore. Wu Dong looked at Yin Wei's tightly shut door and suddenly felt something. He subconsciously turned around and saw Tangwa standing at the door of her room. He slowly walked up to Tangwa and asked in a low voice, Miss Tang, is there anything I can help you with? Regardless of what Yin Wei was doing now, no one could stop Mr. Yin from doing what he wanted to do, not even Miss Tang, who had a special status in the manor. To this day, no one could go against Mr. Yan's wishes. After this period of observation, he believed that Miss Tang was a smart person. Only smart people could stay by Mr. Yan's side for a long time. As long as she was obedient, Mr. Yin would not mind taking care of her for the rest of her life. Tangwa could sense Wu Dong's thoughts from his eyes. She sneered in her heart, but did not show it on her face. She only glanced at Yin Wei's room and quickly retracted her gaze. Nothing. With that, she turned around and returned to her room. She just came out to take a look. She had no other intentions. He didn't plan to do anything and just let things develop. What Sure Shuashin was thinking and what kind of path she would take in the future, he would find out later. The system could sense his host's perverted thoughts and was still trembling in fear. What about that guy? He didn't know where he was now and when he would be able to come to his host's side. Chapter 26:16. Tanghua went to the drawing room next to her room. It wasn't until she finished painting a painting that she heard Yin Wei's footsteps downstairs. She walked to the window and looked down. Yin Wei seemed to have noticed her as he suddenly turned around and saw her standing by the window. Was this a pair of eyes like that? In addition to being very beautiful, Yin Wei could also feel that those eyes were filled with him. Thinking about what happened just now, he felt a little uncomfortable. In just a second, this discomfort disappeared. He strode out of the manor without looking back. He didn't even give her a look. Tanghua only retracted her gaze when Yin Wei's figure disappeared. She laughed softly. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. She opened the door and saw Sure Shuashin standing at the doorway. She looked at her with an aggrieved expression. Look, you still like a man like him. He doesn't even know that you like him. Why are you so stubborn? Sure Shuashin rolled up her sleeves and saw that her arms were full of marks. She even lifted her neck and saw that there were marks on it. Her expression was slightly mocking. This man is like a mad dog, a vicious dog. He has no taste at all. Why do you like him? You like him so much. I don't think he cares about you. If a man really cares about you, he wouldn't treat me like this in front of you. At the beginning, she was bullied by Yin Wei. Even though Sure Shuashin knew that this was her fate, she still felt wronged and sad. Now, it was different. She was used to it. Anyway, she couldn't resist. Being bitten by a mad dog was the same as being bitten. There was no difference. She blindly resisted and suffered a lot. Now, she didn't have the ability to resist. She wanted her to ask Tanghua for help. This woman was brainwashed by that evil dog. Even if she begged for mercy and the other party really helped her, she was afraid that she would be implicated. Moreover, she really didn't think that Yin Wei wouldn't do anything to Tanghua. If Yin Wei really cared about Tanghua, he definitely wouldn't do such a bad thing to her, especially in front of Tanghua. Such a despicable, immoral, and disgusting man, who was like a vicious dog, was really not worthy of Tanghua. The entire manor belongs to Mr. Yin. I have no right to control how Mr. Yin treats you. You like him so much. Can you really bear to see him do such things with other women? What kind of soup did this man feed her? Sure Shuashin was about to die of anger. This Tanghua was good at everything, but why did her IQ drop to 0 when Yin Wei was mentioned? Don't you feel tired, sad about liking such a person? So what? Get rid of him. Sure Shuashin's eyes lit up, and she said excitedly, You're different from me. As long as you get rid of her, you'll be free. Tanghua was speechless. System? Ha 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 ha, this Sure Shuashin betrayed us too quickly. Previously, he was worried that he wouldn't be able to coax her, but now he realized that this woman was easy to coax. At a time like this, instead of worrying for himself, he was helping the host come up with a plan to obtain a new life. I've never thought of leaving Mr. Yin, ever since I moved into this manor. Even though Tanghua said this coldly, Sure Shuashin could still see how infatuated this woman was with Yin Wei. She was very unhappy. Chapter 26:17. Nowadays, there was really someone who liked everything. Yin Wei, that evil dog. Was he worthy of such a good person's infatuation? Sure Shuashin still wanted to say something, but she suddenly felt Tanghua's gaze fall behind her. Her body suddenly stiffened. Could it be that Yin Wei had returned? Mr. Yin has instructed that the pruning in the garden today will be handed over to you. Wu Dong's voice sounded like a curse. Sure Shuashin heaved a sigh of relief. She then heard Wu Dong say, If you have nothing to do, don't come over and disturb Miss Tang. If Mr. Yin finds out, You should know the consequences. Regarding this threat, Shi Shuashin really did not take it to heart. What consequences could there be for provoking an evil dog? Wasn't it just a bite? Did he really think that this could threaten her? However, she still obeyed and went to the garden to do pruning. After a period of observation, Tanghua found that it was very difficult for Yanwei to be liked by Shi Shuashin. She was very satisfied with this result. So, it was time for her to go out for a walk. After all, she was a young artist. She had to play to her strengths and display her talents to the outside world. After observing the original owner's paintings for a while, she could already completely imitate the original owner's style. Then, she would slowly change it, subtly changing it into her own style. This way, it would not attract the attention of the curious people. If she continued to stay in the manner, how could Yanwei and Shi Shuashin create the sparks of love? System. I'm afraid it's not the sparks of love, but the magma of anger. It would burn someone to death if it was poured on them. You're preparing to hold an exhibition? Yanwei heard Tanghua say that she was going out for a while and going to many places to exhibit her paintings. He was not surprised at all. If there's anything you need, let Wudong arrange it for you. And Yanwei slightly sized up the cold and cheerless woman in front of him. She had never lost her sense of propriety in front of him. She was a smart person, so he did not mind that she had a special position in this manner. Shi Shuashin is just an insignificant person. You don't have to care. Perhaps it was Tanghua's attitude towards Shi Shuashin that made Yanwei more satisfied. He did not deliberately target her, nor was he bewitched by Shi Shuashin. He was still the same as before, neither arrogant nor rash. He admired such people. I understand. As long as Mr. Yin doesn't tell me personally that there's a very important person living in your heart, I won't mind their existence. Yanwei didn't know what to say for a moment. She was such a pure person, but he suddenly felt that she was a little silly. What if there's someone living in my heart? Yanwei looked at her with a faint smile. What should you do? What does Mr. Yin want me to do? If I ask you to leave the manor, will you? Even if I'm unwilling, can I change all of this? Mr. Yin was never someone I could control. Yanwei didn't expect this answer. He was very familiar with the woman in front of him, but he was also very clear that he had no interest in her, even though in everyone's eyes, she was very perfect, impeccable perfection. If you want to leave here one day, I won't stop you. Yanwei suddenly said, Shi Shuashin is right about one thing. I'm not worthy of your love. You can go and find a new life. If you like someone, how can you stop liking them just like that? Chapter 26:18. It's up to you. Anyway, I won't stop you from leaving in the future. In fact, he knew very well that this woman couldn't leave him. Everyone else would leave, but she wouldn't. He knew her too well. Tanghua also felt that Yanwei was just talking nonsense. If she really wanted to leave him now, even if Yanwei wouldn't do anything to her, she wouldn't have a good ending. Why did the mother and daughter pair insist on staying in this manner? There was also a fatal reason, which was that they were all on Yanwei's side. Her biological father used to work for Yanwei. He probably did both good and bad things, so he wasn't a good person. Up until now, Yanwei had accumulated countless new and old grudges. She was a woman with Yanwei's label. Once she left the manor, without Yanwei's protection, how could she have a good ending because of what her father had done? She had taken the initiative to leave. If something really happened to her, Yanwei would not be sad or guilty. He would only sit on the leather chair and sigh. This was her choice. She insisted on leaving, and he did not chase her out. In the plot, the original owner was chased out. Even if she encountered all kinds of things, Yanwei's thoughts would probably be, who asked her to court death and hurt the person he cared about the most? This was self-inflicted evil. Shi Shuashin knew that Tanghua was going to hold an art exhibition. While Yanwei and the butler were busy, she rushed into Tanghua's room and saw Tanghua packing her luggage. Shi Shuashin was already used to Tanghua doing this kind of thing personally, so she went up to help. Miss Tang, I heard that you're going to hold an art exhibition? Shi Shuashin's eyes lit up. Are you talking about the paintings from before? Yes. Sigh. It's a pity that I can't see it. but your paintings are really beautiful. Actually, I also like painting, but I've been very busy, so I don't have this kind of talent now. Tangwa looked back and said, "It's never too late to learn what you really want to learn. Even if you're busy, you can still squeeze out time. Have you heard of those people who started to learn painting at the age of 60 or 80 and became masters in the end?" Sure, Shuashin was stunned. "I think I've heard of it before, but I'm not sure. Since you've heard of it, do whatever you like, lest you regret it in the future." Sure, Shuashin smiled embarrassedly. Actually, she didn't like painting. She just wanted to find an excuse to chat. She didn't expect to be comforted by Miss Tang. Although Miss Tang's voice was cold, she felt that she was a very gentle person. Anyway, this was the first time in her life that she had met someone who treated her so gently. "Miss Tang, where are you going for the exhibition?" "Many places." "Won't that take a long time?" "It'll take at least 3 to 4 months, or at most half a year." Sure, Shuashin was a little reluctant to leave after hearing that it would take so long. She was also a little anxious. She felt that once Miss Tang left, she would have no one to rely on. She wasn't afraid of Yin Wei, but she was afraid of vicious dog's lackeys in the manor. Each and every one of them was particularly good at bullying people. Before Miss Tang came back, she had been bullied badly. Now that Miss Tang was gone, she was afraid that she would not have a good life. But sure, Shuashin didn't say this out loud. Instead, she smiled. "Then I wish Miss Tang a successful exhibition. Let more and more people see your paintings, like your paintings, and recognize your talent." Tangwa looked up. "I just think that they should be taken out to dry. Bring them to see a different world. It doesn't matter if other people like them or not." Sure, Shuashin thought. "Can you do that?" Chapter 26:19. Sure, Shuashin stood at the entrance of the manor with a pitiful look on her face. She watched as Tangwa got into the car and left. Sure enough, a few days after Tangwa left, other people in the manor saw that Yinwei was either sarcastic or rude to Sure Shuashin. They knew that Yinwei didn't care about Sure Shuashin at all. He brought her back to torture Sure Shuashin. Sure Shuashin's life got better after Tangwa left for half a month. However, Sure Shuashin was so busy that she couldn't stop at all. She had to do all the chores. She protested, but these people ganged up to bully her. Even though she told Butler Wudong, he only asked her to work hard. If anyone else made a mistake, they would put the blame on her. Once Yinwei knew about it, he would not listen to any explanation, nor would he ask anyone to investigate. He would directly convict her and think of all kinds of ways to torture her. Half a month later, Sure Shuashin's chubby face had slimmed down to a sharp chin. No matter how effective the skincare products Tangwa gave her were, they couldn't help her being tortured like this every day. Only then did Sure Shuashin realize that Miss Tang's life in the manor was really too good. The people in the manor were all wolves. None of them were good. Miss Tang was such a kind person. Why didn't she become bad after living here? Sure Shuashin even found Yame, who talked to her arrogantly and pretentiously like a noble lady, quite cute. Other than rolling her eyes at her, she didn't bully her. After being tortured for a month, Sure Shuashin's body became much weaker. She had to wash all kinds of things in the winter. Her hands were swollen. Her cheeks were thin and her skin was pale. Yinwei saw all of this but didn't care at all. Torturing Sure Shuashin was probably because he felt good in his heart. Sometimes, he couldn't bear to do it, but when he thought of how his parents were hurt by Sure Shuashin's father, he could be ruthless. System. Host. It's been 3 months. Sure Shuashin has been tortured very badly. Didn't you give her your phone number? She didn't ask you for help. As long as you go back, those people won't dare to bully her. Why didn't she call you? Have you heard of a person's last dignity? The system was shocked. Host. Why did Sure Shuashin's last dignity run over to you? Perhaps I'm the most beautiful person in the manor, Tangwa said with a smile as she dialed the number of the manor. As expected, at this time, the person who answered the phone was Sure Shuashin. Hello, Yin Manor. Sure Shuashin? Miss Tang Tang? It's me. Sure Shuashin's voice sounded a little hoarse. Tangwa asked, What's wrong with your throat? It sounds like he's sick. No, it's nothing. Maybe it's just a cold wind. Take some medicine and I'll be fine in 2 days. Don't worry, Miss Tang. I'm not worried. I was just asking. Sure, Shuashin. She's a patient after all. Miss Tang, what can I do for you? I'll be back in half a month. Tangwa said, Where's the butler? Tell the housekeeper to arrange for someone to help me tidy up my room. Okay. Sure, Shuashin quickly agreed and hung up the phone. Chapter 26:20. Sure, Shuashin was still a little happy that Tangwa was coming back. Her life would be better in the future. But why did Miss Tang call her directly? Wouldn't Yi Yamei be the one to make arrangements for this kind of thing? Sure, Shuashin didn't think too much about it. She was a little dizzy now. The weather was so cold. During the day, the people in the manor didn't want her to have a good life. At night, that vicious dog didn't want her to have a good life either. She sighed softly and looked at the manor's gate. For the first time, she had the urge to walk out of here. But when she thought of her mother who had been lying in the hospital for more than 10 years, the urge just now was washed away. She was the daughter of the Sure family in name, but she had nothing in her hands. What could she do if she walked out of here? That cheap father of hers would definitely pull out her mother's oxygen tube. Even if he didn't pull it out, would she be able to afford the expensive fees? Thinking about it, she was really a failure. Miss Tang was already a famous artist at such a young age. If she had any strong points, she wouldn't be in such a desperate situation. And she didn't have the chance to learn those things at all. That woman had already taken over her house. Today was Tangwa's last exhibition. After this exhibition, she would return to the manor. The venue of this exhibition was relatively big. At the same time, there were other paintings and some collections. In short, today's exhibition was considered an exhibition market. The venue was a museum in a city. There were some rare items on display, so it was quite popular. As a result, many people liked her paintings and bought a few of them. The style of the original owner was to sell it if she really liked it. Under normal circumstances, if people liked her style, it meant that they really liked her. She was young. Even if she had some fame in the circle, she was far from the fame of those masters. The customers she met all liked her style very much. Those rich people still liked those ancient paintings and famous paintings. They wouldn't appreciate the paintings of a young girl like her. However, her exhibition attracted a few people in the same industry. They even talked and exchanged contact details in the end. It was obvious that the people in the same industry recognized her standards. A few of the paintings were bought by these people in the same industry. The exhibition was almost over. Tangwa stood aside and waited for the staff to help her pack up the paintings. At this moment, the sound of running footsteps suddenly came from afar. She felt that the other party was running towards her. Just as she was about to move her feet away, a person suddenly took her away from her original position and brushed past the person from before. So much so that she didn't even have a chance to do anything. Before she could say anything, the person who had helped her had already chased after her. System. Host. Your phone and wallet were first touched by the person who almost bumped into you. Tangwa looked at the figure running away quickly. That person is blocking me from catching the thief. Host. You don't look like you're here to catch a thief. The system sneered. If they didn't catch the thief on the spot, even if they called the police, they might not be able to catch the thief. Even if they did, the things might be lost. However, the system soon stopped worrying about this. The person who had chased after them had already returned. Miss, are these your wallet and phone? A young man with a somewhat ruffian smile walked in front of Tangwa. Is this yours? It's mine. Thank you. Chapter 26:21. Tangwa reached out to take it, but the man raised the wallet a little higher. With Tangwa's situation, there was no way for her to reach it. Miss, tell me what's inside. You can't just say that it's yours. Also, I checked the phone. It should be unlocked with a fingerprint. You used your fingerprint to unlock it. My ID card is inside, Tangwa said as she stretched out her index finger. Give me the phone. I'll unlock it. The phone was unlocked as soon as Tangwa's finger touched the screen. The young man returned the phone to her and glanced at her from the corner of his eyes. I have to see the ID card inside. Suit yourself, Tangwa replied coldly. She didn't mind at all. The young man opened the purse. There was a small amount of cash and change inside. After all, there were fewer and fewer places to use cash in this day and age. He went straight to the point and quickly found the ID card in the purse. She took out the ID card and compared it to Tangwa. Finally, she smiled and said, "This is indeed Mrs. Wallet." He put the ID card back in its original position and returned the purse to Tangwa. The person just now was a thief. He was discovered when he was committing the crime. He has now been subdued and sent to the police station by the exhibition hall security. Thank you for helping me find my purse. Tangwa put the purse back into an open canvas bag. The young man couldn't help but remind her. Miss Tang, a canvas bag with a long strap and no zipper is not suitable for storing valuable items when you're outside. It's very easy to encounter situations like this. If you hadn't met me today, you might have encountered a lot of trouble. System. If you hadn't met the thief, he wouldn't have been able to touch the host's phone and wallet. He would have been kicked over by the host. Thank you for reminding me. Tangwa's indifferent attitude didn't change the young man's expression at all. He didn't seem to mind such a cold attitude. For some reason, he didn't intend to leave immediately. Miss Tang, is this your family's latest canvas bag? Tangwa's eyes flashed with surprise. How did this man recognize it at a glance? In the eyes of many men, bags could only be divided into women's bags, men's bags, children's bags, and hiking bags. It was impossible to tell which brand was which. Could it be that this person was in the luxury bag business? Yes, Tangwa replied. Perhaps the man sensed the difference in Tangwa's behavior, so he walked closer to her. Under Tangwa's puzzled gaze, he skillfully took out his phone. I happen to have a few models that I just brought back. They're also my family's babies. We brought them back through human flesh. We also have records of our travels abroad and videos of our purchases. Some of them are not only fashionable, but also safer to use outside. As he spoke, the man placed his phone in front of Tangwa and swiped his finger across the screen. If Miss Tang is interested, I can give you a discount as a new customer. The system was stunned. Was he trying to sell something right off the bat? It reminded him of that fellow who had once promoted insurance to the host. The system was suspicious. This guy couldn't be that person, right? He carefully observed Tangwa's expression and felt the rapid increase in energy. He was secretly delighted. It really was him. Only he would dare to make such an elegant and refined entrance. Chapter 26-22. I arranged to go abroad several times a month. If Miss Tang likes it, you can add me as a friend. When those brands launch new products, just contact me and I'll be able to bring them back for you. This will also save you the time and journey to go abroad to buy them personally. A young artist like Miss Tang must be very busy. It's best to leave such small matters to a buyer like me. System. She didn't expect him to be a buyer this time. Looking at his clothes, he must have made a lot of money in this line. I'm a buyer with integrity. Maybe the price is slightly higher than other buyers, but Miss Tang, you have to believe that if the price is low, it's easy to buy fake goods. I'm not a buyer here. After you get the goods, you can take them to check. Tangwa glanced at the man's small shop. There was a dazzling lineup of goods inside. The big ones were some international brands, and the small ones were some word-of-mouth products. Miss Tang, do you need anything? Tangwa pointed at a few bags that were newly listed overseas. Currently, there was no stock in the country. I want these. System. As expected, the host will give face. That's right. If she doesn't give face, how can we contact each other in the future? Naturally, they added each other as friends. Tangwa paid the money and gave the other party an address to receive the goods. At the same time, Tangwa found out the man's name, Bai Shuwa. Bai Shuwa glanced at the address and his eyes deepened. It was actually the address of the Yin Manor. He worked for big brands, and many madams and young ladies in the circle were his friends. When he had nothing to do, he would scroll through his circle of friends and often see fights between rich families. It was especially exciting. Regarding this Yin Manor, he also knew a little about it. The owner of the Yin Manor was Yin Wei, but there was also a very special person living there. It was said that this woman was the flesh of Yin Wei's heart and also his only weakness. As long as she wanted it, Yin Wei would find it for her. Bai Shua's heart was a little strange. So, she was the flesh of Yin Wei's heart? I'll ship it to you as soon as possible. On the other side, the staff was almost done with Tang Tang's paintings. Bai Shua looked at the last painting that was about to be put away and suddenly asked, Miss Tang, are you selling your paintings? Is there anything you like? Bai Shua pointed at the only painting hanging there and quickly walked over. I like this painting of the night sky very much. If you like it, I can sell it to you. When Bai Shua heard this, he couldn't help but smile. This was the first time he had met someone who sold paintings like this. Did he sell it to him because he liked it? If he wanted to buy this painting but said that he didn't like it, he suspected that she might not sell it to him. In the end, Bai Shua bought the painting. After the painting was put away, he suddenly asked, speaking of which, Miss Tang is really straightforward. Aren't you afraid that I'll cheat you of your money? There are cameras everywhere. Isn't it easy to catch you? Tangwa glanced at him. Her cold look made Bai Shua laugh. Miss Tang, I don't think you're short of money, so for the sake of a long-term business, I definitely won't lose the big picture for a small gain. In 2 days, the things that Miss Tang likes will be sent to your house. When Tangwa was about to leave, Bai Shua quickly asked, Oh right, where is Miss Tang's next exhibition? The exhibition has already ended. The next exhibition hasn't been scheduled yet. Chapter 26-23. Ignoring the disappointment in Bai Shua's eyes, Tangwa turned and left. Xiaoguo, who's that man looking at you? Your suitor? Yiyame came out of the washroom and saw Bai Shua staring at Tangwa. There are so many toads out there. Tangwa was speechless. Actually, Bai Shua didn't look like a toad. He was already quite good-looking. Xiaoguo, you don't have to care about these toads. Yiyame was afraid that Tangwa would be fooled by these toads, so she nagged for a while. After getting into the car, Tangwa said, He's a purchasing agent. He goes abroad 2 or 3 times a month and sells big brands. I think he's not bad. I even added him as a friend. Mom, don't you like these things and it's not easy to buy those new models in China? As long as Tangwa asked for it, Yinwei would definitely satisfy Yiyame's needs. Yiyame was greedy and vain. She also liked to reap without sowing, but she wasn't a fool. If he blindly let Tangwa do it, then if he asks Yinwei for help, his impression of Tangwa will be very bad. She didn't want to lose too much just because of a few bags. Even though she was envious of those rich ladies who could get the new models as soon as they had the goods, she didn't say anything. Are the things he's buying for real or fake? Yiyame didn't believe it. I added a purchasing agent last time. Not only did he sell fake goods, but he also cheated me. I lost tens of thousands. You're just greedy. No matter how cheap those things are, they can't be that cheap. Yiyame smiled. Is this purchasing agent reliable? She swiped through Tangwa's phone, her eyes fixed on the goods on the screen. He seems to have a lot of things on his phone. There are even some shopping videos and flight records. It looks like he's very trustworthy. Tangwa's eyes widened. When Tangwa returned to the manor, Yiyame had already become friends with Bai Shua. When she was in the car, she had already placed a few orders. In the end, she said painfully, I can't spend anymore. I can't spend anymore. Xiaogua sold a lot of paintings this time. I was so happy that I spent too much. Half of the things she bought were hers, and the other half belonged to Tangwa. Mom, if you want to buy it, then buy it. Anyway, I don't spend much money, and I have a lot of money in my hands. Buying a few bags shouldn't be a problem. I don't think so. No matter how much money I have, I won't complain about having too much. If I really spend everything I have, what if in the future? At this point, Yiyame changed the topic. We're home. Let's go. She opened the car door and got out happily. She muttered, This purchasing agent sounds very reliable. If the items are really good, I'll look for him in the future. It seems like I can save a lot of money. Tangwa, Butler Wu Dong knew that Tangwa was coming back today, so he had been waiting for her. After walking into the manor and resting for a while, Tanghua did not see Shueishin. Butler, where is Shueishin? I previously instructed her to take out my paintings to dry regularly. I don't know if she did as I said. I'll ask her when she comes back. Wu Dong thought about Shueishin's life in the past few months and felt a little sorry for her. Moreover, he inadvertently discovered a truth. His Mr. Yin seemed to be treating Shueishin differently. Where did she go? Tanghua frowned slightly. Wu Dong thought about Yin Wei. This Shueishin was the daughter of Mr. Yan's enemy. If Mr. Yin really felt compassion for Shueishin, then Mr. Yin would definitely be very upset. Chapter 26-24. Compared to Shueishin, Wu Dong was naturally more inclined towards Tanghua. Hence, he said, Shueishin went to deliver something to Sir. She just left. Is that so? Wu Dong saw Tangua's expression change slightly. He thought that she would definitely go to see Yin Wei and heaved a sigh of relief. Miss Tang was so perfect. Sir wouldn't like Shueishin more, right? That was the daughter of Sir's enemy. If Sir was really moved, it wouldn't be good for him. It was better to let Miss Tang go. Perhaps when Miss Tang came back, Sir wouldn't have that kind of feelings for Shueishin. I haven't seen Mr. Yin in a long time. Butler, can you tell the kitchen to prepare something for Mr. Yin? It will be noon in an hour. Mr. Yin should be having lunch. Wu Dong was naturally happy and quickly went to arrange it. The kitchen was busy for more than 20 minutes. Finally, a lunchbox was sent out. Wu Dong remembered that Tanghua probably hadn't eaten yet. He asked, Miss Tang, do you want to eat something before going over? Actually, he knew that Tanghua couldn't eat before going over. Sure enough, Tanghua refused. With Tanghua's face, she naturally went to the Yin Corporation without any obstructions. In the end, she was invited to Yin Wei's office. Just as the assistant was about to knock, the office door opened. The person who walked out wasn't Yin Wei, but Shueishin. Shueishin's face was pale, and she couldn't walk steadily. Her face and eyes were quite tired. She didn't even seem to notice that Tanghua was beside her. Shueishin. Tanghua called. Shueishin thought that she was hallucinating and didn't pay attention at first. Later, she looked up blankly. The moment she saw Tanghua, her gray eyes lit up. Miss Tang, is that you? Miss Tang, are you back?
Yes.
Shueishin didn't know if it was because she saw Tanghua, but she was much more energetic. She should have fainted outside Yin Wei's office, but she didn't. She saw the lunchbox in Tanghua's hand and pursed her lips. Miss Tang, are you here to deliver food? Did that vicious dog need to eat? Coffee would be fine. Yes. Then, Miss Tang, I'll go back first. Wait for me downstairs. We'll go back together. Shui thought that she came here by bus. According to the current situation, she didn't want to squeeze in the bus. She had a terrible headache and felt a little dizzy. Perhaps it was because of their previous interactions that she trusted Tanghua very much. She quickly nodded. I'll wait for you downstairs. Tanghua pushed open the door of the office. Yin Wei was not surprised by Tanghua's arrival. He enjoyed this lunch very much. I saw that there was something wrong with Shueishin's complexion. She looked like she was sick. Tanghua mentioned it casually. As for why she mentioned it, of course, it was because she wanted Yin Wei to have compassion and feel sorry for Shueishin. Wouldn't it be more interesting if Yin Wei was tempted and Shueishin was not? She pursed her lips lightly, but she was trying to control the corners of her mouth from rising. Shueishin hated Yin Wei to the core. I see that she's very energetic. Why is Xiaogua suddenly worried about her? Yin Wei thought that Tanghua was jealous and said this just to see his reaction. He still had to give her face. How could he care about the life and death of that woman outside? Chapter 26-25. She was the daughter of his enemy, and they would always be enemies. It's just that she doesn't look right. She kept falling down when she walked. Since Mr. Yin doesn't mind, I won't mention it anymore. She's an adult. If she's really sick, she should know to find a doctor or take medicine. The truth was that Shueishin, who was deliberately targeted by Yin Wei, didn't even have the chance to buy medicine or see a doctor. She was extremely busy all day. If she wasn't serving Yinwei, she was bullied by the other servants in the manor to do all kinds of chores. With Yinwei's tacit approval, everyone in the manor didn't want her to have an easy time. After hearing Tangwa's words, Yinwei was indeed reminded of Shi Shuixin's pale little face. No matter how he tortured her, she didn't resist and obediently did as he said. But today, Shi Shuixin did look a little strange. Thinking of her increasingly thin body, Yinwei couldn't help but frown, especially when she was in front of him. No matter what kind of grievances she suffered, she would be so obedient and never beg for mercy. This made him feel like he had punched cotton, and he was very unhappy. But very quickly, the pity he had for Shi Shuixin dissipated. This was the daughter of his enemy. How could he feel pity for her? He chuckled and looked at Tangwa, who was sitting upright and always looking at him with such clean and serious eyes. Even if he didn't have much feelings for Tangwa, Shi Shuixin couldn't compare to her. If this manor needed a mistress, it would definitely be Tangwa and not the daughter of the Shi family. The Shi family would never be important in his heart. Where else do you want to hold the exhibition? I'll ask Wu Dong to arrange it for you. As soon as he said this, he saw Tangwa's eyes light up. Then, she maintained her indifferent look. Thank you, Mr. Yin, but I don't need it for now. During this exhibition, I got to know many people in the same field and listen to many people's opinions. I want to spend some time painting something new. When the new painting is done, I'll do it. All right, it's done. I'll get someone to arrange it for you. Let's try to make it big. At this time, Yinwei had already forgotten about Shi Shuixin. This well-behaved woman in front of him had always been so obedient. He did not mind giving her the best things. Shi Shuixin had been waiting downstairs. Actually, she didn't like to stay in a place with Yinwei's aura. Therefore, she did not choose to sit and wait on the first floor. Instead, she chose to walk out of the door and wait outside. Even though it wasn't winter, the weather in April was still a little cool, especially today's weather. There was no sun at all, and dark clouds covered the sky. Most importantly, she had a fever and was probably seriously ill. Her head was dizzy, and even though she tried her best to keep her eyelids open, she still couldn't hold on. Her whole body went limp on the ground, and she finally fainted. The moment she fainted, she vaguely saw a figure walking towards her. His slow steps became slightly more urgent. Seeing Tangwa instructing the bodyguards to carry Shi Shuixin into the car, the system complained, "Host, this time, the hero saving the damsel in distress is not Yinwei, but you. I feel that the two of them won't be together. It'll be a miracle if they succeed." Tangwa looked at Shi Shuixin, whose face had turned red, and ordered, "Go to the hospital." Chapter 26:26. After suffering so much, if Shi Shuixin could still be coaxed by Yinwei in the future, she deserved it. Little system, help me check on the Shi family and see if Shi Shuixin has the ability to make a comeback. The system quickly agreed. Was the host intending to train this bull to do things for it? The Shi family. The Shi family was quite big and was doing well. The prerequisite was that the old man and the other mother and daughter had to be removed from power. Could Shi Shuixin do it? He was still doubtful, but it was possible that this woman had a lot of potential. For example, he loved the host. Who knew that the innocent and adorable person would become like this today? Stop thinking. Stop thinking. Work hard. Don't think about the past. Work hard to help the host was the most important thing. When Shi Shuixin woke up, the smell of disinfectant wafted to her nose. The white blanket on her made her realize where she was. She instinctively looked to the side and saw Tangwa sitting on the chair, looking down at her phone. From the side of her face, she could tell that she was in a good mood. When she fainted, it wasn't a hallucination. Tangwa was walking towards her. "Miss Tang, thank you." Tangwa looked up. "Since you're sick, you should get treatment soon." Shi Shuixin didn't refute and only felt warmth in her heart. Even if so many people treated her badly, bullied her, and humiliated her, there was still one person who cared about her. Even if that person looked cold, at least he was willing to send her to the hospital and not wait for her to die. This world didn't seem so bad. Not everyone was as bad as Yin Wei and the people in the manor. Look at Miss Tang, who grew up in the same environment. She was different. Anyway, thank you. If not for Miss Tang, no one would care if I died. No, if you died on the streets, someone would call the emergency services. If you died, they would take you away. If you stay where you are, you'll rot. Not only will you spread viruses and scare people, but you'll also affect the city's appearance. Miss Tang, I'm a patient now. Then you should rest well and recover quickly. Those people in the manor are rough. Come back and help me dry the paintings. Before Shi Shuixin could say anything, Tanghua had already walked out of the ward. I've hired a nurse for you. She'll do whatever you need. Shi Shuixin watched as Tanghua left. She wanted to stop her, but it seemed that she had no right to stop her and let her talk to her for a while. No matter what, Miss Tang was a good person. At night, Yin Wei came back. Suddenly, she realized that something was missing from the manor. She didn't even feel like eating. She suddenly remembered that Shi Shuixin seemed to be missing. He didn't care if Tanghua was in front of him. He called Wu Dong over and asked directly, "Where's that woman?" Wu Dong hesitated for a moment before whispering, "Sir, Shi Shui has a heart attack. She's in the hospital now." He even went to the hospital? Yin Wei was a little unhappy. Clearly, he suspected that Shi Shuixin was pretending to be sick. Wu Dong hurriedly explained, "It was Miss Tang who told me about this." Yin Wei looked at Tanghua. "What happened to Shi Shuixin?" "When I left the company in the afternoon, I found Shi Shuixin unconscious outside the company. She looked like she was dying, so I sent her to the hospital." Yin Wei frowned. "Is it that serious?" She had already fainted. He didn't suspect that Shi Shuixin was pretending. That woman had suffered so much before and didn't pretend. He didn't know why, but he actually felt a little anxious. Chapter 26-27. Yin Wei's face remained calm as he asked casually, "How is she doing?" Tanghua's lips curled up slightly, but it disappeared in a flash. Her expression returned to normal as she stated calmly, "From the results of the doctor's examination, it's not good." Yin Wei's heart skipped a beat when he heard this. Not good? How is it not good? Could it be that it was already that serious? Is she seriously ill? No. Tanghua shook her head and explained directly this time. She hasn't had enough rest for a long time. She doesn't get enough sleep, doesn't eat on time, and doesn't have enough nutrition. Her body is gradually exhausted, and her immune system is declining. It's easy for her to catch a cold. There's nothing wrong with her now, but the doctor said that if this continues, it's hard to guarantee that she won't get a terminal illness in the future. For example, stomach cancer. Or, it's possible that he died suddenly. While Tanghua was talking, Yin Wei was imagining the serious consequences in his mind. One day, that annoying woman would disappear from this manor. She would die and disappear in this manner. He also recalled the previous few times when Shi Shuixin's pale cheeks had been enduring pain. Sometimes, he would inadvertently find that she was holding her stomach in pain. Just like today, when she appeared in his office, her steps were unsteady and she looked like she was in a trance. No matter what he did to her, she looked like she was at his mercy. The more he thought about it, the more his heart ached. Tanghua noticed Yin Wei's expression and almost threw up the food she had just eaten. Why didn't he think of this when he was rubbing her? Disgusting. After that, Yin Wei hurried back to the study and pulled up all the surveillance cameras in the manor. For the first time, he was frantically looking for a woman in the surveillance cameras. When he finished watching the recent surveillance videos, which showed how the people in the manor bullied Shi Shuixin, he angrily punched the desk. "Dear host, that man was watching the surveillance cameras in the manor." Now that he saw Shi Shuixin being bullied, he was very angry and punched the table. Now, he had called Wu Dong into the study and ordered him to drive away all the people who bullied Shi Shuixin in the manor and let Wu Dong arrange for new people to come in. Is your heart aching now? What were you doing before? If it weren't for his connivance, who in this manner would dare to bully Shi Shuixin? This kind of scumbag really knew how to clear his name. He was clearly the one who connived and punished his subordinates. How could he erase the fact that he was the one who initiated the harm? Dear host, Yanwei walked out of the study room and didn't return to his room. He even asked Wu Dong to prepare a car. He should be going to see Shi Shuexin. The system was a little worried. Dear host, would Shi Shuexin be coaxed by his actions? Chapter 26-28. Wu Dong didn't understand. How could Shi Shuexin compare to Miss Tang? She was the daughter of Mr. Tang's enemy. They should be enemies. How could Shi Shuexin enter Mr. Tang's heart? If she hadn't entered his heart, would Mr. Tang ask him to deal with the people in the manor and secretly visit Shi Shuexin in the middle of the night? Miss Tang had been by Mr. Tang's side for so many years. If Mr. Tang really wanted to be with Shi Shuexin in the future, Miss Tang would lose her status. Compared to the otherworldly Miss Tang of the past, he liked the current Miss Tang, who was as smart as snow and knew when to advance and retreat. If no one else intervened, Miss Tang should be the mistress of the manor in the future. Now, it was probably impossible. Wu Dong couldn't change Yanwei's mind. He just felt that it was a pity. At this time, Wu Dong's pitiful Tanghua was chatting with her purchasing agent. By Shuo, Miss Tang, have you gone home? Tanghua, I'll be back at noon. By Shuo, I've already shipped the things you bought. They should arrive tomorrow. Tanghua, okay, I won't go anywhere tomorrow. Seeing this, Bai Shuo smiled. It's getting late. Miss Tang, you should go to bed early. Although he wanted to talk to her more, it didn't seem appropriate, and there was no time. Bai Shuo stared at the phone screen in a daze. There was a hint of disappointment on his handsome face. It was strange. He had never been so interested in a girl since he was a child. And this girl was someone else's woman. He shook his head and put down the phone. Brother Bai, it's about to start. You're shaking your head and sighing. Did something happen? Are you okay today? I'm fine. Bai Shuo cheered up and let the makeup artist put on his makeup. He put the previous matter aside for the time being. He was indeed a purchasing agent. However, he had stopped doing this for a long time. Under him, there was a team that was responsible for purchasing goods on his behalf. He did start out as a purchasing agent. Later, he used the money he earned to start another career. However, he had never given up on being a purchasing agent. It was just that he let his team do most of the work. Now, his main job was to sell goods live. Tonight happened to be the day of his live broadcast. He had already gathered a large number of products, all of which were sent by the brand and carefully selected by his team to work with. The brands did this mainly for publicity and to open up channels. They would give a lot of discounts to the viewers of the live broadcast. Since he entered this industry, there was a rule. To put it simply, he was helping the brand sell things through the live stream. He collected service fees and commission, and the money he earned was many times more than buying things on a commission basis. Chapter 26-29. Later on, he accidentally discovered a secret. This was because Brother Bai's circle of friends were all rich ladies from the upper class. The things they bought were not only for themselves, but also for their husbands and boyfriends. Usually, when they needed something and did not want to go out themselves, they would make a list and ask Bai Shuo to do it. Then, Bai Shuo would hand this matter over to the person in charge of the team. Basically, they would go abroad 3 times a month. These 3 times, they might go to several countries at once. These rich ladies liked the limited edition products sold in certain countries, and they were very difficult to get. It was possible that the service fee was half of the product. At the same time, they would also bring some other products. Relatively speaking, it was indeed much cheaper than in China, and it was also very popular. Great host, great host. Tanghua was playing with her phone when the system's voice suddenly sounded. The anxious tone made her very surprised. What's wrong? Did something happen with Shi Shuexin? Could it be that Shi Shuexin really did not change her personality and was moved by Yanwei, and even fell in love with Yanwei? Logically speaking, it should not be. Was her analysis wrong? Great host, I discovered a secret. It's about your cutie. Do you know what else he does besides being a purchasing agent? What? Hearing that it was by Shuo, Tanghua was curious. She knew that he was definitely not a simple purchasing agent. Great host, go to a shopping live stream and take a look. He is now rich every minute. The system almost drooled in envy. It looked at those people as if they had gone crazy. The moment the product links appeared, they were all snatched up like bandits. Tangwa followed the system's guidance and opened a live stream. Sure enough, she saw Bai Shua's figure. He was not like before, dressed casually, and had a bit of a ruffian's temperament. In this live stream, Bai Shua was dressed properly and looked even more handsome. He was holding a watch in his hand and introducing it to the audience in the live stream. Unsurprisingly, this was a very big luxury watch. Today's live stream event was, of course, a lot less than usual. Moreover, it was a limited supply, and there were also free gifts. The gift of a luxury watch was naturally a diamond ring, a gold pendant, and the like. Tangwa looked at the watch that Bai Shua was exaggerating. There were already many people yelling at him to hurry up and upload the link. Is that watch really that good? Tangwa asked. Even I want to buy it. Madam Host, I just checked. Although this watch is not very popular, it is indeed a good luxury item. Whether it was the workmanship or the details, they were all perfect. He was right. Actually, you see, a lot of people are here for the freebies. The freebies from the brand seem to be quite good. I checked just now, and this is a gift that Bai Shua fought for the fans in the live broadcast room. This time, the main purpose of the brand was to promote these free gifts. This was because they had already entered the jewelry industry, and this was the product they were promoting. If he bought a watch, it would be a gift. When everyone received it, if they liked it, word of mouth would definitely spread. According to the original situation, the brand's plan was to directly advertise and sell it. Then, they would use this to find Bai Shua to promote it. Bai Shua gave them this idea. Moreover, there were really a lot of rich people in Bai Shua's live streaming room. Chapter 26:30. He really knows how to make money. Tangwa looked at the decreasing inventory. There were so many rich people in this world. She really didn't know that a group of rich people were waiting in Bai Shua's circle of friends. What the rich people cared about was not whether the product was expensive or not, but whether it was rare, whether it was of high quality, and whether it would be embarrassing to wear it out. According to Bai Shua in the live broadcast, there were only 1,000 models of the free gift this time. In the future, no matter how much money you had, you wouldn't be able to buy the same model. Moreover, there were several models in this 1,000. Tangwa saw that the link had been taken down. It should be all sold out. It was hard to imagine that a luxury watch, even if there were only 1,000 copies, would be sold out in a minute. She opened the other live broadcast rooms and glanced at them. She found that not all the fans were so rich. It seemed that Bai Shua's fans were the richest. She narrowed her eyes. It seemed that this man was very capable. He even brought in his own customers. Later, Bai Shua sold other products. They were all famous brands. It was nothing more than some cosmetics, bags, jewelry, and the like. At the same time, he also sold some things that men liked, electronic products. Sometimes, men were more generous than women. They were very willing to spend money to buy electronic products that they liked, just like the camera he sold before. According to the system's data, most of the customers were men. System, host, don't worry. Your cutie not only has female fans, but also many male fans. Every day, there were male fans asking his studio about some strange electronic products. They also asked him to help them assemble computers. He was so busy. On the other hand, the female fans were most concerned about the discounts. They only wanted to save money. Your cutie only wanted to earn some money from them. Tangwa, she wasn't jealous. The more the system thought about it, the more it thought. Tangwa found that after 10 o'clock, Bai Shua sold some high-tech electronic products. Most of the people in the live broadcast room were also men. System, those women said that they want to go back to sleep. They don't want to play with these stinky men. He knew what the host was thinking. Bai Shua didn't go offline until 12 o'clock. Tangwa looked at his live broadcast time. He only broadcasted twice a week. It was reported that he and his team would choose products for the rest of the time, talk about cooperation with brands, and occasionally have other activities or rest time. In the morning, Tangwa went downstairs and saw Yinwei coming back. She raised her eyebrows. Yinwei stayed in the hospital for the whole night? She didn't ask, but Yimei was a little cautious. However, she didn't ask further and just kept her doubts to herself for the time being. Yinwei ate his breakfast and left the manor. Yimei pulled Tangwa back to the room. She didn't want to go shopping today. Xiaogua, do you know why Mr. Yin went out last night? I don't know. Tangwa shook her head. Logically speaking, she really didn't know. Maybe something happened at the company and it needs to be dealt with urgently. Mom, you don't have to worry about this. Mr. Yin will take care of it. Didn't you go shopping with someone? 2. Yimei was comforted and quickly nodded. That's true. I'll go out then. Yimei was relieved to see Tangwa at ease in the manor. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.